welcome to or welcome back to my channel. Today we're going to be doing a Q&A. I just did one about the crate, but other than that, like specific one, I haven't done just a general one in quite a long time. So yeah, also I'm filming this with natural light, so I'm sorry if the lighting changes throughout the video. I have like a migraine like haunting my head, so I don't want to aggravate it and give myself a full-blown migraine by having my box light on. So we're gonna do it like this. Also, hopefully my POTS is gonna hold out. I'm just always having a rough time, always flaring, so this might be part 1 and there will be a part 2 later. So yeah, but let's do what I can while I can. Also, just in general, if you submitted a question and I don't get to it, I do a lot of Q&A content in general because I get why, like, people have a lot of questions about my life and stuff. So I do have 2 other Q&A videos up on this channel along with a specific Q&A about the crate, and I have 3 separate Q&A highlights. It's like 3 different parts. Q&A highlights on Instagram, and also over on Patreon I just started doing an advice column section, which is really fun. So you can also, if you want like more in-depth stuff, you can also go over there and check that out. There may be some repeat questions in this video that you've probably heard me answer, things I've talked about a bunch of times before. I also have like a Q&A specifically about my caregiver, so if you have a question that you're like, I feel like this is a common question, why isn't she answering it? It's probably just because I've answered it a bunch of times somewhere else. But yeah, without further ado, let's get into the video. The first thing that someone asked is it hard for you not caring what others think of you? How did you manage it? Also, real quick note before I get into these, I'm doing this all unscripted, all off the cuff, so I hope I might not be, as articulate as in other videos. I'm just doing my best, so I don't know, in a way it's kind of like take this video with a grain of salt. But yeah, is it hard for you not caring what others think? How do you manage it? It's honestly not that hard for me, which I think is partly because of my conditioning. I was raised vegan and atheist in like a really random small town where people were not being raised vegan and atheist. My family were weird. I was always like the weird kid. I did go to a private Montessori school for like some period of time, and there were a lot of like-minded people there, but even there, like, I'm used to being like the odd one out in like any given situation. I've also always had like anxiety stuff and like been overstimulated easily. I'm neurodivergent, so there was always things that like were setting me apart from other people in really like obvious ways that I really quickly had to adjust to like not caring in order to like get through. And also in general, I don't know if it's like my genetics or what, but like I just don't care what people think of me. I just like, I faced so much adversity from such a young age that it was like, I truly have bigger issues than what you think of me. And of course there were times when it was hurtful, especially if like the judgment was coming from someone that like I admired or looked up to or wanted to be friends with. Like, it never feels good to like be ostracized, but I was always able to find friends eventually wherever I was, which was really helpful. And at the very least too, it was like, well, she's entertaining. So I had that going for me. For me, it's easy, but I completely understand why you're asking, like, why that could be difficult, why it's sad, like, why it's, like, hard. Like, of course, I absolutely get that. And there are things that do still affect me, like, this kind of sense that I have, which is a very, like, traditional CPTSD thing of, like, and neurodivergent thing, of, like, everyone understand some fundamental thing about social situations and just like life in general that I just don't know. I don't get it. No one can put it into words to make me understand it so that I can get it. I always fundamentally feel like I just don't have a frame of reference and I'm just like missing something, and that's hard. But like in terms of caring what other people think about me, I just have bigger problems. And ultimately, someone's opinion of me doesn't really have to do with me unless I'm being called out for something that is genuinely something I should be taking accountability for or, deeply thinking about. But if it's like a surface level judgment or someone just misunderstanding me, it's like that just truly doesn't have much to do with me and it only has to do with them. So it's not really something worth my time and energy to entertain. And I really suggest, like, kind of talking to yourself the way you would talk to a friend. Like, if your friend was coming to you with a problem or asking you for advice or saying, like, I just feel so judged, it's like, what would you tell them? You would probably tell them, like, it doesn't matter what other people think of you. let people be wrong about you. That's something that I love to say. I also say my life is too short to make myself smaller and to make myself someone I'm not, simply to appease people who are comfortable in their own ignorance. And that's kind of a mouthful. And there's probably better ways to put it. But that's like a sentiment that I really like, is like, why make yourself smaller to fit someone's ignorant expectation of you? And also, as I always say too, if what you're doing does not harm yourself or anyone else, and everything is consensual and like whatever, like you're fine, you're good, you're objectively literally fine. Just because something is weird, just because you're weird, there's nothing wrong with being weird, and something being weird doesn't make it wrong. Next, someone asked, how do I get my boyfriend to understand my regression? To be totally honest, I think that there are some people that no matter how you explain it to them, just are not really gonna understand regression, like truly in a deep way, because they just don't experience it. So how do you get him to support your regression though? I would say to explain what it is from a more like actual standpoint. I have a video all about it if you would like to show your partner. I know that some people in the comments say that they've shown it to their partners and it's been helpful. So get like the facts down, like make sure they know what is what factually, how age regression differs from X, Y, and Z, like what it is. And then once you have the kind of like the facts out of the way and you're kind of on the same page about like definitionally what it is, then it's time to transition into, and here's what it is for me. Here's my history with it. Here's how it makes me feel. Here's how it helps me or hinders me or whatever it may be. Here's my experience with age regression. And an understanding and healthy-minded person, like I said with all that advice about managing what other people think of you, a supportive person is just going to want to support you, even if they don't fully understand it. They'll accept you and they will love you regardless. So I would just explain it like that, and truly like a person that can meet you emotionally maturely will already be there once you have the facts out of the way and your personal experience. They should just be open and accepting. Up next, someone asked what my favorite picture books are, so I'm gonna take a second to go grab them. I definitely have more favorites than just these, but I thought like a top 3 is like a good place to start. I also really like I Spy books. Okay, one of them I cannot find in here, but this is my Golden Books collection. You probably recognize these spines, but there's a bunch in here. I don't know if I'm gonna be able to find. But I love these books. There's too many to like name, but like Golden Books and I Spy books are two like categories I really like. So here's that. And then Don't Let the Pigeon Drive the Bus. Huge classic. I have interactive story times on Patreon, so if you want to see me like reading this and like engaging with you behind the screen, like go ahead and check that out if you want. But this book I'm obsessed with. This book. Mommy reads this to me. It's so cute. It's by these authors, but it's from Jellycat, because it's like there's the Jellycats like in it. This is them. Also, another one of my favorites is Knuffle Bunny, which I also don't have. I have a lot more favorites than just what I have here in the room. Maybe I'll put some more on screen, but here are 2, and then Golden Books and I Spy books. Next, someone asked, what's your favorite stuffed animal? And I actually do have a favorite stuffed animal, as taboo as that may be. I love all my stuffed animals, but I do have a favorite. I actually am not going to show him. I'm not going to show him, like, ever really intentionally in content. I did a little bit in the past, but for some reason, like, it's so personal, and I don't know why I feel like that. But it's like, he's my child, and I, like, don't want to show his face online, is, like, the vibe, and I don't know why. But his name is Ruff. I got him when I was 10 months old from TJ Maxx, and I have slept with him every night of my entire life. I love him so much. He is a person to me. If my house were on fire after getting my pets out and my caregiver out, like, I'm going back for him. Like, the way I feel about him is, like, literally undescribable. He is truly a entity to me who I love so much. He's been there with me through my whole life. Literally every single night, every mental breakdown, abuse, everything. He's been there. And I love him more than anything, just ever. Someone asked, what do you do when your BF, who was your caregiver, doesn't want that dynamic anymore? And I fear that some of my responses to these questions are inevitably going to sound a little harsh, but if I can like save you some strife, like I will try to. To be honest, I would break up with them. That's my advice. If having a caregiver is something that is important to you and you feel that loss of that dynamic and they can't fulfill that role for you anymore, but it's something that's important to you, that's perfect grounds to leave a relationship. When someone can't fulfill your needs, no matter what those needs are, you just may not be compatible, and that's just like my honest opinion. You could also, depending on what your relationship dynamic is like seek a caregiver out in addition to having your partner. Like, different relationships look differently. Everyone's on different spectrums when it comes to like monogamy and stuff, and also like whether or not the caregiving dynamic needs to be romantic or not. So if you can't find a way to get that dynamic and you need it in another way in your life, I'd consider myself incompatible completely with that person, and I would break up with them. Because in a balanced relationship, there's never going to be some big thing that you just feel like is like a big gaping missing hole that you need filled, and it's just not happening. That's just you're not compatible in that situation. And I'm sorry you're going through that, and I hope that you can do what you need to do for like what's best for you. Next, someone asked, favorite way to spend time when you're regressed. So it depends on a lot because of my health. I think in my dream life where I'm not sick, it's literally just like play outside all the time and kind of no matter the weather. Like rainy, I love being out in the rain. Snow, like no matter what, like I just want to be outside and playing outside. So definitely that. But I also love playing in here in my regression room with my toys, with my dolls. Sometimes I like just like looking at my things and like holding them, like holding my stuffed animals, holding my dolls, brushing their hair, just like cuddling up and like watching a kid's movie. Just anything where I'm engaging with my things and my comforts and the things that I love and whatever. The main thing I would say that I do is come in and play on the floor while I watch Bluey. And that's just like the best. That and playing outside are like the best. I really, really love playtime. And I also do like the more like sleepy, cuddly aspects of stuff too, but like if I can be outside, playtime outside, it's over. That's my favorite. Next, someone asked for low spoons craft ideas. So for those who don't know, that basically translates to low energy craft ideas. I actually have a post on this on my like chronic illness advocacy Instagram. So I'm gonna actually like put a picture of that up for each like energy level, and then you can screenshot and save that because I just recently did a whole little post on that. Next, someone asked any tips to deal with the panic after a re-traumatizing situation. I've been feeling it for months now. So obviously I'm not a clinician, I'm not a mental health professional. I am becoming a certified hypnotherapist, but I do not have any extensive like school training in the psychology field. I have done a little bit, but I do not have a degree in that area. So take what I'm saying, like this is from my personal experience and like things I've learned with my therapist. Like my word is not law. But I really recommend talking to a mental health professional, whether that be a therapist or a hypnotherapist, or if you have a psychiatrist who does talk therapy, a counselor, just like someone who can truly validate your experience and be there for you and help you process the trauma or deal with it somatically, like whatever needs to happen. I really recommend engaging with your comforts as much as possible, being gentle with yourself as much as possible, really prioritizing self-care as much as possible, and finding things that help de-escalate you. So I'll give you some examples of what those things are like for me. Personally, I really like involving temperature, so dumping my face in like a bowl of cold water, washing my hands under cool water, trying to like do little things in the moment to be mindful. So like having a warm bath and then literally listing every single thing I can like observe in the bathtub. So like down to like how many shades of pink on my body wash that has a pink flower on it, like how many shades of pink can I count? And just doing that like until it's literally exhausting and you're like tired of doing it. Like I find that de-escalating. Counting backwards from 300, slowing every thought you have down. So like if you're having, and it doesn't matter what the thought is, your thought could be like, oh, I'm freaking out right now. Okay, so you go. You're like, okay, I'm gonna engage with this thought in a de-escalating way. So what I do is I think about the letter I, drawing it really slow in my head, visualizing it. The apostrophe, the M, and then say to myself, I'm, and then I do really. I'm really freaking out right now. And you literally slow it down as much as possible. You try to get yourself out of the like the being in a panicky state is such a heightened state. So you want to try to de-escalate that state. There are some other things that I do that are specific to my hypnotherapy practice, which would be way too much to get into in this video. But one quick tip I have is when you're dealing with any images of the traumatizing situation, if you're having like mental pictures of it, what I do that helps me to recode that image in my head, to recode my association with it, is I drain all the color out of it. So I make the image in my head black and white, the memory, whatever's replaying, I make it black and white, and then I make it really dark. I turn the brightness all the way down, and then I shrink it down with a big black screen around it, and then I like you're doing on your phone, like going like that, I flick it off, like out in my head, like when you're visualizing it. And the more times you do that, it will make your brain code that traumatic memory visually the way I just described. It will be on a tiny screen, black and white, really dim. So it will take more and more effort for you to truly remember it clearly if you keep doing that every single time it comes up. Your brain will start being like, oh, this is how we remember this happening. And it can really like take a lot of power out of the image. And obviously I'm supposing a lot of things right here, right? Like I'm making suppositions about what panic is like for you. I'm supposing that you're having like, you know, visual flashbacks, like etc. So those, again, like I said, like take that with a grain of salt, but those are just off the top of my head, some tips. I could make a whole video about this, like, but really not that quickly, but like quickly, those are some things that I would do. Next, someone asked, have I DIY'd any play food? It's my favorite toy, but sometimes they're so expensive. They are so expensive. A lot of toys are so expensive. I haven't DIY'd any recently. I used to all the time when I was a kid, and there are definitely ones that I want to DIY, like cool ones I found like on craft websites and stuff. But I did make a menu for all of my play food sets. So when my caregiver and I are playing with play food, he can like decide if he wants to go to the sandwich shop or the pizza, and he can like do the menu. So I made this, but obviously this doesn't really count, but I do want to DIY play food. Someone asked, what's something sweet that Mr. Mommy has done for you recently? He does so many sweet things for me every single day. The most recent thing was when I started getting my migraine. He asked me if I wanted him to call out of work and stay with me, which was really sweet. I said no, that I was gonna buckle through, and I am. I'm on my meds right now, and I'm just hoping it doesn't turn full blown. So that, and made me all my meals today, really sweet to me today. Recently I was telling him, because I'm really trying to not spend money right now, but I was telling him there was a new American Girl release, and there was one thing, and I was like, oh, if I had money, like I would get that. And then he came home and like handed it to me one day, and I was like, and that was like a couple weeks ago, around the time of my birthday. So that was really sweet. I'll show you what it was. It is this outfit from Mary Ellen's like line of stuff, and it's this little play suit, and my mini me is currently in it. So cute. Someone asked, what are my favorite toy brands? People often ask, and I want to put a little thing about this actually. I'll tell you my favorite like toy brands in a second, and like stuffed animal brands. But, and I don't know how to word this like tactfully, but like when I do Q&As, a lot of the questions are about brands and like where I get things. And I get why, right? Like I have a lot of shit. I have a lot of stuff. In fact, I'm trying to like clean out my stuff. I have definitely like had like shopping, like girl stop, like issues in the past. And I'm trying to really not do all that. I just want to say like, there are so many things that you can find secondhand. So many things. I'm going to be selling a lot of my stuff on Depop. There's stuff on Depop, there's stuff on Mercari, there's stuff on eBay. I've gotten a lot of my stuff from there, like American Girl dolls, I've gotten a lot of mine secondhand. Some stuffed animals I've gotten secondhand. Calico Critter stuff, doll stuff. There's been a lot of stuff that you can find secondhand that is really amazing quality, because things are way worse quality now than they were even like 10 years ago. So please, please, please buy secondhand when you can. That's what I do. That's really what I recommend you do. There's really easy ways to sanitize things, which I can make a video about. I want to say that, and also like the main purpose of my platforms, yes, in my content I show my things. Yes, I do hauls of stuff on Patreon. Like, this lamb is from Build-A-Bear, right? Like, that's great and fine, but when I get just so inundated with those comments, I just really want to make sure that brands don't become a focal point of any of my content. Like, I really want to be mindful of that. I want to mindfully consume, and I want to mindfully shop, and those are really things I'm working on right now, and I really recommend that everyone work on. And, like, I am going to give you recommendations. I'll just put the list up. These are my favorite brands. But please shop them secondhand if you can. And I personally have had many, many chances for brand deals and things like that. And I know a lot of creators that do that stuff. I'm never going to do that. Unless, like, there's some brand or something, like, that I really believe in and they're really, like, sustainable or something. Like, I don't want my platform to become like consumerist, if that makes sense. And I know it sounds like I'm literally talking out of my ass, because like I just said, like, obviously my stuff is here. It's not like it's a big blank wall and I'm like, you don't get to know anything. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying, like, I want to be mindful of that. I'm not trying to gatekeep, but I'm trying to be mindful of my platforms and what I want them to stand for, and like being super consumerist isn't one of those things. I think, like, when I get a haul of stuff, like, it's fun, and it's fun to make a little haul about, like, you know, oh, I went to Build-A-Bear, this is what I got, or whatever. But I don't want it to feel like it's becoming a main focal point of my content, as fun as unboxings are. And also, please support, like, small businesses too, whenever and wherever you can. So yeah, that was probably a long tangent. Sometimes I just get anxious about, like, recommending brands and stuff, because it's like, like, I don't know. It makes me feel a little weird, but I don't want to gatekeep, and I'm telling you. And maybe my feelings about this I haven't even really fully fleshed out to myself yet, but I would much rather, like, influence you about, like, my opinions than, like, stuff. You know what I mean? But again, I know I look like an asshole because, like, I have a lot of shit. I get it! Like, I can hear the comments, but, like, whatever. Okay, moving on. Next, someone asked, how has life been recently? How about, my health is really, really bad. Really bad. But it's spring. But I'm in love. That's all I'm gonna say, actually, on that. Okay, that's all I'm gonna say. I'm gonna say my health is bad. Ableism is the silent killer, and spring, and I'm in love. So, and I'm in my regression room. It's like, okay. Why did you decide to begin an age regression YouTube channel? Because people were asking me to, and I thought it would be fun, and I am, like, a bit of a yapper when I feel up to it, and there are a lot of things and, like, a lot of misinformation I've seen, and, like, I don't know, I have, like, a pretty, maybe not so unique perspective, but, like, a perspective that I wanted to share, and I feel like what better platform to do that on. So I also just like YouTube. I grew up watching YouTube, and it's fun. Really, really like long form content. I prefer long form content. That's why Patreon's my favorite platform, because I can just, like, make tons of long form content and have it be in my little small cute little community. People asked, if you opened up a real food shop, what would you sell? Would it be similar to your play restaurant? It probably would be similar to my play restaurant, and it would be all vegan and gluten-free, and it would be, like, but it wouldn't be, because a lot of, like, vegan places are either super crazy, like, vegan junk food, or they're super, like, vegan healthy, spirulina, acai, kale, and it's like, okay, It's really fat and fiber. It's like the fat demon and the fiber demon. And I have gastroparesis. So these are my two demons. I cannot have fat. I cannot have fiber. So I would have something in the middle where it's like comfort food that feels good and is healthy and is also gluten-free. And no one would come. No one would eat there. Because they'd be like, what is that? What is this? Anyway, I'm gonna ask, at what age did you start to regress? So I was able to put a name to the fact that it was regression at 15 with the help of my therapist, who was a trauma specialist. I got to put that label to it and understand it at 15 and actively engage in it in a healing way at 15, but really as long as I can remember, really forever. And I just thought I was like, what is that? What's that? Don't know. Something freaky. Kind of scary. Don't know. Kind of horrible, actually. But then obviously I began my journey, which I have a video all about that. So I'm not going to go too into that. But if you want to hear all about my regression journey, I do have a video about that. Someone asked, what's your favorite crisis coping skill outside of regression? Because regression definitely is my primary coping skill, is my primary lifesaver. For me, it's everything that I've learned in hypnotherapy, both in my hypnotherapy class, for my certification, and my hypnotherapy, practice hours, but also from doing hypnotherapy myself with, a really highly rated hypnotherapist, because some people, I don't know about it. But, so definitely that stuff, which that's, a huge swath of things. So I would say de-escalating things, and I think the main thing for that with me has been including sensory stuff, somatic stuff, like I was saying, temperature. So for me, my first instinct when something's up is I need to go make myself really cold. So probably being cold, to be honest. Being cold and acting like I'm 3. Yay. Next, someone asked, is this age play? And to that, I make ugly faces. What do you think? Is this media literacy? No. Does this question exhibit media literacy? No. Sorry. What the fuck? Okay. Dream nostalgic toy. If you already have it, what is it? I do already have it. I have a few of them. One is my Hayden Back to Nature, whatever she's called, Live doll. I'll put a picture. I don't want to go get it. And my My Little Pony, what are you called? My Little Pinkie Pie. I don't remember what she's called. The American Girl doll Jess. I do have. I'll put a picture. My Lala Loopsy, who's right here. And my Zuzu pets, particularly him. And I am, I have all my Calico Critters from childhood. I do have a bunch of stuff from my childhood that I was able to salvage. Not really stuffed animals, because those are something that, my parents didn't really either allow me to have or force me to get rid of. But a lot of other, little things, like my Calico Critters, I was able to salvage, so I'm lucky to have a lot of that. There's so much stuff. There's so many things that come to mind, so I'll just leave it at that. I don't need to, that could be all literally its own whole video. So if you want that, let me know. Next, someone asked your favorite outfits you wear for baby time, outings, or just in general to boost your mood. So I really like things that are not form-fitting. I do not like anything form-fitting while I'm regressed. Onesies are fine if I can wear it with baggy or overalls over top. I really love onesies, but with baggy overalls over top, or a big skirt or something along those lines. So baggy clothes. I really, really like vintage nightgowns. I really like PJs. I really like footy pajamas. I really like, this is my caregiver shirt. I really just like having my caregiver shirts on. Big hoodies, cute patterned leggings, sundresses. Sundresses might be number 1. Overalls and PJs would be a close number 2. Next, someone asked, does your caregiver help you regress, or does it just come naturally for you? I'm doing all the regressing. He definitely like makes it a more fun and like enriching experience, but I'm regressing out the wazoo. And I always have been. And I'm not someone who is like, oh, I need a caregiver to be able to regress. For me, it's more like, it's helpful to make it like fun and safe, but it's not like a requirement for me personally. I've just always been really, really regressive, like for better or for worse. Next, someone asked, what's your favorite tattoo? Which is so hard because they're all so sweet and special, but probably my first one, my fawn, because it was just like really special getting it. Or Patrice. This is Patrice. He's my little mourning dove. But I love all of them. Like, I love my rat. I have my, you can't see it, but I have a bunny and a lamb. I really love all my tattoos. All my animal tattoos are my favorites. 2 of my tattoos are matching with my caregiver, and our first matching tattoo we got 10 days after meeting. People thought that was crazy. Next, someone asked some favorite foods. So as y'all know, I'm vegan, I have celiac, I have a million food allergies, and I have gastroparesis. So can I eat? Not really. Can I eat solid food? Not so much. Okay, yeah, no. Does my stomach work? No. Is it paralyzed? Yes. So, but I was a foodie before that. I love food. I love vegan food. Yummy, yummy in my tummy. I'm gonna put up a list of, like, before gastroparesis, current, like, of my favorite foods. Also, I don't know what it looks like to you guys, because obviously I'm gonna cut out all my like POTS problems where I'm like crashing, but I've been filming this for so long because I keep having to take big breaks, so I'm sorry if the light changes, but anyways. Do you think you'll do more toy tours? Yes, I will. Love like showing you guys like my little collections. I did my Calico Critters, many of which are from my childhood, which is so fun. I did my stuffed animals, also many of which are older. And my littlest pet shop I want to do soon because most of those are from my childhood. So they're like older generations. I have some like ones that are considered rare now. Yeah, I love doing like little collection videos. I have a ton of them already over on Patreon. I have a room tour where I go in depth of every single thing. Like, I go through everything in that bin. I go through everything in my drawers, like all my coloring books. I got something secondhand, like versus new, my favorite things, how I use things. That's all on Patreon because it's real nitty gritty. But I do want to do more collection videos. Next, someone asked, can you please comment on self-soothing techniques related to inner child healing? So I actually have a video on this. It's called Using Age Regression for Self-Soothing, I believe, or something along those lines. So do feel free to check that out because if it's one of those things, it's like if I start talking about that in a Q&A, the Q&A is going to be 3 hours because an hour of it is just me diving into that. So please do check out that video if you want something like in-depth. POTS break. Okay, next someone asked, I don't want to be intrusive or weird. You're not. But do you show your caregiver's face on Patreon? Why or why not? Just curious. I do not show his face on Patreon, but I show considerably more of him on Patreon. Like, every video is like us talking, us bantering, us playing. Like, you very much get a sense of like our dynamic and his personality. Like, he's like a focal point of probably like 8 out of 10 of my videos, I would say. Like, 80% of my videos like really heavily feature him. But I do still make the effort to cover his face with my hand or just like with the camera angle. Because, I mean, to me, I thought it would kind of be obvious why, but a lot of people have asked. It's because, like, I've been on Fox News without my consent. When I started my platforms, I was well aware of the potential, like, people think whatever they want, but, like, the shock value of my life, it's there. We all know it's there, right? Like, I have a crate. I'm getting in a crate. People have all, like, the little associations and connotations and like lack of critical thinking skills to when it comes to me, like, and just being online in general, no matter what content you're making, comes with risks. Being vulnerable, no matter what you're saying, comes with risks when it comes to online platforms. And I want to protect him from hate and vitriol and harassment and doxing and stalking, and like I want to protect him. I love him. I'm making a choice to platform myself, I refuse to do that to him. Not doing it. And it's what he feels the most comfortable with as well. I want to keep him private and protected. Next, someone asked, do you own a dollhouse? I kind of do. I have the Bluey Target Playhouse, and I have the Calico Critter Red Roof, which I got secondhand, and it came with this really cute car for them. But anyways, and the Red Roof, I think it's called Calico Critter Playhouse. I will put a little like picture up. And then I also, if you can see in the back, I have this Tenderleaf house and the Boathouse Tenderleaf as well. I think it's called like the Shepherd family boathouse or something, and then this one is like the Rose family. That could have been a lie, I'm not sure, but those are Tenderleaf, and they're smaller, like that. Next, someone asked, do you like 12-inch fashion dollies? Aside from American Girl, Reborns, and baby dolls, I really, really like Live dolls. And I do like Barbies, but I like Live dolls way, way more. They are discontinued though, which is sad, but I still have a few. I have a few from my childhood. Next, someone asked, what are your top tips for dealing with CPTSD? And this is another one where it's like, and tell me again, if you want a full video on this, please tell me, because I will make it. But number one, see a trauma specialist. I cannot stress this enough. Bonus points if they have far more schooling than a licensed clinical social worker. No offense. Bonus points if they have a higher degree than that, but like, whatever you can find. You can tell I have beef. My tips though, somatic work is really important, because a lot of stuff is like verbal and processing and all this stuff, but like trauma is stored so in your body and like your brain in like these ways that a lot of people don't realize. I think really learn about trauma, learn about the way that your body and brain respond to trauma, about somatic healing, learn about, honestly, hypnotherapy. I can never stress enough how much I love hypnotherapy and how genuinely it saved my life. Age regression saved my life, and hypnotherapy, those are like really the two things that like I owe everything to. And I think self-care and self-love really goes a long way. And really prioritizing those things, I think, for me at least, age regression goes a long way, as does inner child healing, and making your life have some magic and whimsy and like something just like pure and sweet in it again. I also really like affirmations specific to you. I have mine over here, you can't see them on my wall, but things that pertain to trauma that are important for me, that I remind myself, like, what happened to you is not your fault. You were not dirty or impure. Like, those are two that are big for me. Like, find out what those things are. Do some journaling. Meditation is really great. Like, start small with that, though, because it can be triggering for people in fight or flight to just, like, kind of jump into meditating. Just find anything you can. Find anything you can that makes you feel comforted, whimsical, at peace with yourself, validated, and safe. Whatever those things are. And again, like, this is another one of those things, if I get too specific, I'm gonna yap at you for 50 years. So if you want a specific video on this, please let me know, because I would love to make one. Next, someone asked for gastroparesis-friendly meal recommendations. I don't know how many people are gonna care if I, like, take the time now to, like, list all of them. This video is already gonna be a million years long, so I'm gonna put them on screen and you can pause and check them out. These are all vegan and gluten-free as well. Someone asked, do you feel there is a link between your trauma and your chronic illness? Absolutely. Absolutely. And there's more and more evidence coming out that having trauma can actually be a prerequisite for many chronic illnesses, especially things to do with the nervous system or your immune system. For me personally, my illnesses were triggered post-infectiously, which is also, that's the most common way for them to get triggered, from a mono infection I had senior year of high school. But 1,000% my trauma exacerbates my symptoms. And I think part of why I was even predisposed to get them post-infectiously is largely because of the havoc that my trauma wreaked on my nervous system. I think 100%. And there is evidence coming out to support that. Next, someone asked, can you do a Passy tour? I have one on Patreon. Actually, I think I have two on Patreon. Stuff like that is a little too vulnerable for me to do on YouTube. Someone asked, how do you curate your regression closet? Where do you buy from? Again, I've already, I think, like, gone into brands. Again, please try to look secondhand. For me, it's things that make me feel nostalgic. Like, if, like, Kid Me would have worn it, and current me, because my style's been the same forever, literally. It's really just that. It's anything that makes me just go like, ooh, that's cute. Like, I just love that. Anything that, like, for me, it's literally just, like, if I like it or not. Especially if it has, like, bonus points, if it has, like, cute animals on it, and my favorite colors. Like, if it's pastel, got animals on it, I'ma go for it. Someone asked, could you cover how to be a starter caregiver? My boyfriend is trying to be my caregiver, which is amazing. First of all, congratulations. That's really exciting. I do have a video all about this, so please go check it out if you would like to. I think it's called, like, tips for new caregivers or something. You'll know what it is when you see it. And also someone asked, how do I feel okay with my regression? I also have a video on this. It might even be the first video on my channel, but like how to deal with like shame and guilt surrounding your regression. So please check that out as well. Someone asked, you said you're chronically ill, but do you do anything for work? Yes, I do content creation and my snail mail club, which I do on Patreon. And I'm working towards my hypnotherapy certification. So once I have that, I will be able to go into a hypnotherapy practice, which is really cool. So that will be a part of my job in the future, but for right now, it's all content creation. Since you're becoming a licensed therapist, how would you be taking clients? Because I would love to talk to you. So I'm not becoming a licensed therapist. I'm becoming a licensed/certified hypnotherapist. It's really different. There are things that are and are not in my wheelhouse of like what I am comfortable and not comfortable like treating, essentially. Treating isn't even really the right word. Hypnotherapy is truly about stress management and like pain management to some extent and like coping and like neuro-linguistic programming. So like kind of reworking how your brain deals with stress, how your brain deals with trauma. Not working with the trauma itself, but with the way that your brain processes it, if that makes sense. Once I have my certification, I am done with all my clinical trial practice hours, so I have been practicing for a few months now, which is really cool. I will have a website where people can, if they want to be on a waitlist for a consult with me, you can do so. But because of my health, I don't know like what that's going to look like yet. But it is something I will at the very least be making a lot more content about and like sharing what I learned, because even if not all of it doesn't apply to everybody, like when I did hypnotherapy, I literally felt like it's a crime that not everyone knows this stuff. And I'm so mad that I am only finding out now, because my life would have been so much easier if I learned it when I was like 10. And I want to share that with you guys, so. And by no means am I saying it's the goose that laid the golden egg. Anything that claims to be like a cure-all or like whatever, cut the cameras. Like, cut the cameras. But it's an incredible set of skills. And when you dedicate yourself to using them and implementing them, it's like, hallelujah, hallelujah. So, at least it was for me. But yeah, that's the situation. Also, someone asked in general, like I kind of was just talking about, but you said hypnotherapy was a lifesaver. Could you talk a little bit more about your experience? I will a little bit now, but I am going to make a full video on this at some point because I think it'll be really helpful for a lot of you guys. Basically, like, okay, in regular therapy, most therapy is CBT, cognitive behavioral therapy. There's so much about why you feel this way, why this happens, and there's so much what happened. How was, like, what happened during your week? What happened during your day? What did you say? What did this person say? It's very, like, it's all about the context of whatever. Like, and then it's, like, talking specifically through your trauma, talking specifically through your thoughts, and figuring out, like, well, what makes you think that, or whatever. But with hypnotherapy, the focus is on, like, how. Like, how does your brain do that? Because we know why. The why is through your, like, the way that trauma has shaped your brain, or the ways in which your unconscious mind is trying to protect you, and it may be doing too aggressive of a job, whatever. Like, it's kind of goes on the assumption that, like, okay, we know why, right? But how? how are you feeling this way? Literally, what does your brain do? How does it process things? And can we figure out a way to get you to do that differently, so in a triggering situation, so if you go through a trauma, that your brain can work truly for you? Because your brain thinks it's working for you. It's trying to do its job. But there's a lot of things that, like, and I literally get chills thinking about it, because it literally saved me, like, when you work with the how and, like, the kind of way that your brain, like, neurologically, like, neural pathways and stuff, like, how those form and, like, what that process is, it's like, think of your brain as a car, okay, and you don't know who's driving. Your brain is whatever's the original situation you have, that's driving. You're not driving, you're in the backseat, like, please don't crash, like, please know what you're doing. But with hypnotherapy, it's like, if your brain is the car or your body's the car, like, you're driving now, like, you are driving. You have the control, like, you have, like, and I hate talking about it to some extent, too, without all the details, because it makes me sound like, oh, like, oh. I never want anything to sound, like, culty, or, like, I'm like, oh, like, oh, literally, my life is perfect, and this is the magical thing, and it's magic. It's not magic. It's science. And, like, human nature. Like, I don't want to sound, like, culty and dramatic. I really don't, but it's so incredible. So, yeah. It was really bad, too, because, like, I have an incredible therapist. My therapist is who referred me to the hypnotherapist that I saw, who was incredible. And I was agoraphobic. I had become agoraphobic. I was on the verge of it being really bad. Like, things were, like, I've never been in a place like the place I was in before hypnotherapy. And within a week, I was like, oh shit. Like, that saved me. And I will make a full video about it and try to start sharing, like, about it more. And it's not going to be what it was for me for everyone. You have to, you know, like any tool, you kind of have to mold it to your own situation and stuff. And that's what it is. It's a tool. It's not a cure. It's not a religion. Like, it's a tool. And it's just a really incredible tool. The same way talk therapy is an incredible tool. The same way age regression is an incredible tool. The same way self-care can be an incredible tool. Like, etc., etc. And I just want to make that distinction clear, because I put so much emphasis on it, but it's a tool, like, truly, it's just really great. This is what happens when I don't have a script. Someone said, is it normal to regress without any trauma? Yes. Trauma is not a prerequisite to age regression. Some brains can just do it, some brains can't. And for tons of people, it is tied to trauma, but for tons of people, it is not. Next, someone asked, any positive memories that have influenced your regression style? Yeah, absolutely. Like, of course, like, was my life hell? Yes. Was my childhood evil? Yes. Like, are my parents, like, needing to be thrown in prison? Yes. Like, did they commit crimes? Yes. But, like, of course there were, like, moments when I was alone or at school or with my brother hiding, that were great. Like, I've always really loved nature and, like, holidays and, like, traditions and things. Like, yeah, of course. And yeah, like, all childhoods are complicated, and there were definitely little parts of mine that I think even the good parts were probably super heightened because I needed them so desperately. Like, there was a lot of things that really felt magical and special that I love tapping into now and absolutely, like, influence things, especially because I have had the same interests my whole life. And me personally, I never stopped feeling like a kid. In many ways, I feel the same way that I did when I was 3. Like, there's been a very, like, constant thread throughout my whole life of me and, like, my interests, and it just never changed. So I do feel really connected to a lot of that stuff, and it definitely influences my regression, down to, like, what I watch, what I own, what I do. Like, yeah, 100%. Okay, that's it. That was a lot. For some reason, I was like, oh, this isn't that many questions. Oh, girl, shut up! Okay. There was a lot in there too that, like, if you want me to make a full extensive video about it, please let me know. I've been recording this video literally for hours. I'm gonna go pass out. No, but for real. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I'm just like in really yappy top form today. I love you. If you would like to see more long form content and a more just like extensive, kind of more vulnerable range of stuff, a more intimate look at my life and like getting to know my caregiver as well as me, please check out my Patreon. We have 3 tiers. I also have my snail mail club and my digital snail mail club and just my content tier. It's so fun. We have an advice column right now, so if you have like other questions or things that you want answered by me or just like members of our really, really sweet little community over there, you can also check that out as well. Because I've been really trying to foster more of like real community, not just like me, but like you as well. Please check that out. And yep. Thank you for watching, and I will see you in the next one.